All right, we've got pixels under our belt of knowledge. There's something interesting going on though. Maybe you noticed it. We've got our 10 by 10 pixel box, and then a little bit lower in the page, right above our basketball, we've got another box. So this is something I want you just to notice right now, that if we use divs in multiple places, cascading style sheets apply them to as many things as possible. Pretty cool. So div up here is also being applied to the div down here. We're going to learn how we can differentiate these things in the future, but I just wanted to call it out now. This lesson specifically is going to be about typography though. So I'm going to go ahead and join me in doing this. Let's delete that errant div that we used just for examples. And then we're going to get rid of this top div as well, because it's not going to be part of our web page. It was just there for us to learn about pixels. So now that we've got that deleted, let's take a look at our H1 and our P tag a lot closer. So I'm going to point something out on my screen here. You'll notice that these fonts have serifs. Serifs are little edges on the font right there that you can see that give it kind of an extra flair. But they're harder to read in some cases, or they're not as clean as a title that we might want. So with typography, we can actually use font families to control how our fonts look. So join me in coding really quickly. Let's go look at our H1. So I'm going to type font-family, colon, and then I'm going to type in Arial. And notice what happens to our font. The serifs have been eliminated. So the serifs right here, this is really clean. Notice there aren't serifs down here. So by the edges of our typography, we can start actually doing some pretty amazing control with just our CSS. But when we have a font family, sometimes the computer that the person has doesn't have the font that you want to have on there as a web designer. So we can introduce a new property piece, comma here, which allows multiple entries. And I'm going to type in sans-serif, just in case they don't have the Arial font, which most browsers do, by the way. Most computers come with that now. But just in case they don't have it, if Arial was to be eliminated, watch this. I'm going to delete it. You can see it's slightly changed, right? Just slightly. So Arial has just a slight difference than sans serif. So that's the reason I kept this font so big, so we could see it happening. That being said, font family should be applied to our P tag as well. So I'm going to go in here and just hit enter and copy and paste so I don't have to write it again. And notice that our P tag gets formed up too. So let's do a little before and after. Before the font family, looks like this. See the serifs? After font family, whoops. After font family, the serifs are gone. So this is what we're going to be using because it matches closely to the design that we're aiming for. So let's also adjust the font sizes because 120 is kind of ridiculous. So if we go look at the web page that we're trying to build, it's going to be actually 32 pixels. So go ahead and join me and let's start making this look more like the design we want. So 32 px, that's going to be what we're looking for. And then our P tag is going to be 20 px. So let's go ahead and jump into our P tag and type in font-size 20 px. Now I want to call out something here. These orders of the properties do not matter. They only matter if you work at a company where they matter. So I've been at companies where they really wanted it alphabetical. I've been at companies that didn't care. So it really depends on where you're working. But if you're working by yourself, it's really up to you. You don't have to worry about putting color at the front or the back as long as you're not recreating properties. So for example, if I were to put another color property down here and put it lower in the page, now this gets interesting. What if I typed red? Notice that the red overwrote the original gray color that we had here. So please be careful because cascading style sheets means that it will take the lowest reference to the property and overwrite the one on the top. So that's the only thing you've got to be careful about is just user error, just human error, is making sure you don't type color twice. Okay, now if I hit save and refresh, this should get us back to where we are. And there we go. So let's move on to going even further with font families in the next video.